We begin with breaking news coming out of France, where a series of arson attacks have disrupted the country's high-speed rail network just hours before the Olympic opening ceremony in Paris. Authorities say rail lines, including those passing through Montparnasse in the capital, have been severely affected. The route to the Stade de France venue has been closed. Repairs are underway, but officials say restrictions could last throughout the weekend. The Games are set to make history with the opening ceremony taking place outdoors instead of in a stadium. And these new disruptions come as the final countdown to the Paris Olympics is in full swing, with just hours to go until the opening ceremony. Tourists and locals had been voicing frustration at the strict security measures in the French capital, but the latest developments on France's trains show all too clearly why such restrictions are in place. Even so, excitement is still very much part of the mix.
Just ahead of the Olympic Games opening ceremony in Paris, there's enormous anticipation and excitement in the French capital. Many are looking forward to an atmosphere of celebration. Yes, Paris is more festive and hectic with lots of tourists. But there is also some frustration, as locals and tourists alike have to deal with the inconvenience of massive security measures.
Yeah, it's been really hard because everywhere has been barricaded, closed off, blocked off, and there's everywhere policemen, so it's hard to get around here. Bonjour!
Authorities say the strict security measures are an absolute necessity to protect both spectators and athletes, and many locals agree.
There is so much terrorism here in France. France is the country of the terrorists.
Along with tens of thousands of soldiers and police patrolling the streets, the French Air Force is also playing a major part by securing the skies during the Games. Fighter jets, surveillance drones, helicopters that can carry sharpshooters, and equipment to disable drones will all be deployed.
We have to protect against some commercial aircraft that could be used like a weapon, but also tourist aircraft which also could be used like weapons. And counter UAVs, we see that today that there are 3 million UAVs in France, and we know that they can be a real threat for such an event.
For Friday's opening ceremony, a no-fly zone extending some 150 kilometers will be in place around the French capital. And cameras twinned with artificial intelligence software will flag potential security risks, such as abandoned packages. Securing these Olympic Games is a massive undertaking and comes at an enormous cost. But France has spent the last several years preparing for this moment. Many visitors say they appreciate all the efforts to keep them safe.
So coming here to Paris and seeing the gendarmes, the national police, and the presence, it's impressive. It's impressive. So it's something you always have to be concerned about. But knowing how prepared they are and stuff, no. I feel safer in Paris walking around, enjoying the city, than I do in my hometown of Chicago.
The hope is that all the security efforts will pay off and result in safe and successful summer games for everyone.
And those summer games officially kick off today in Paris, where our correspondent Lisa Louis is standing by. Lisa, 4 high-speed train routes in France have been vandalized overnight. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, apparently there were acts of sabotage last night between 1 and 5:30 in the morning at electrical and signaling boxes. The train operator SNCF has said that they are dispatching teams to repair these parts of the network. But these works might take a few days this weekend, possibly. Meanwhile, the authorities have said that they dispatch extra security forces to the train stations here in Paris and have told travellers that they'd rather try to not take the train over the coming days because there will be lots of disruptions today and in the coming days here in Paris and across France.
Lisa, what does that say about the state of preparedness when it comes to security for the Olympics?
Well, it's very difficult to secure a whole country. The authorities have obviously done what they could to secure the capital. There are about 45,000 police and security forces that are deployed here in Paris. There are security zones in the center of Paris that have been in place for about a week now. They've looked in the air, in the Seine, in the water. They've checked all the adjacent buildings that are next to the Seine where the opening ceremony will take place. And everybody here is on edge. The authorities have been preparing for that. Police forces are not allowed to take any leave during the coming 2 weeks. But obviously, you can't prepare for everything. So apparently, these acts of sabotage were something that they were not prepared for.
Usually the opening ceremonies take place in stadiums, but not this one. What can we expect to see tonight?
Well, it's supposed to be a formidable show. You've got thousands of athletes that will ride on boats down the river. You've got dancers, you've got singers, you've got choreographers that will put on a breathtaking show. That's at least what the organisers are saying. There will be a light show, there will be people in the air, on the water, and it's supposed to take our breath away. As I said, the authorities have been preparing for that. There's lots of secrets, actually, around the ceremony. We do know that some singers, such as Céline Dion and others, are likely to come and sing songs that are historically important for France, but the exact details of the ceremony are not yet unveiled, although we know obviously that this is a ceremony that is out of the ordinary, because normally these ceremonies, as you say, take place in stadiums and not actually on a river.
DW's Lisa Louis in Paris. Thanks very much for that.